Hello, welcome to Switched On. Paul speaking, and a very exciting day today. It's sort of Christmas Day if you're a big football fan, as it's Football Manager release day. The game's been out for a week or so on other platforms, or a few weeks actually, but today it comes to the Nintendo Switch. This is the third version on the Switch. We've had Football Manager 18, 19 and now 20 today. It's the touch version, which is kind of in between the simplistic mobile version and the full fat PC version. And it's a game I enjoy very much, as I actually made the transition to consoles superbly well. I really, really loved playing this on the consoles, on Switch obviously specifically, on the TV, using a controller. Really, really enjoyable experience. I gave last year's game a 7 out of 10. Just the match engine didn't run particularly well. Though in hindsight, I feel that's a little bit harsh, as I spent many months playing it. And absolutely loved it, and looked past the sort of failings it had in the match engine, and did end up enjoying it. So I think a 7 was a touch harsh overall. But here we go. Let's have a look at the 2020 version. There is some new features. Let's pick a club to start with. Let's have a look at Manchester United. Just while we have a look round the what's new, and a sort of a quick guide round what this game's all about. Now, while this is just loading in, we'll just run through the new features. The new big headline features this year, a club vision, and that's where you get set like a 5-year plan by your club to achieve different things. So it may be to work within the wage budget, get promoted to a new division, win the title, be successful in Europe, all that kind of thing. It's sort of laid out for you over like a 5-year plan. And I absolutely love this feature, because when you join a new club, or if you move clubs, if you get offered a better job or you get sacked, you've got so much more incentive to really work towards the chairman's vision of that club. So it kind of makes it a lot more challenging. You can't just go in with your own goals and ideals and sort of little stories that you make up in your own head. You've got to work towards the club vision. Love that feature. Another new feature is a development centre, and this is where sort of a one-stop shop where you can see your youth team, players that are on loan or out on loan as well, and you get recommendations from your reserve team manager and youth team manager about what players are performing well, which ones to keep an eye on, which ones need a kick up the backside. So that's a really cool feature as well, one that I'll be using a lot. There's new contract negotiations, which are kind of in real time, which is a nice little feature, and sort of expanded that out to give you more control over what you're offering your players. I'm still waiting for this game to load in. There, it's loaded in now. Obviously a bit of a big load at the start. Just where it loads in all the data. And finally, the last feature is improved graphics. Now, this is going to be really interesting to look at on the Switch, because as I say, last year I was a little bit critical of the match engine. It really chugged at times and didn't look great. Kind of really put me off a little bit. So looking forward to seeing how that performs. So let's just give ourselves a manager name. I don't know. Let's just put in my name. It doesn't really matter, just while we have a look. Now I'm using the Pro Controller while I'm entering these details, and to play the game. The game is obviously fully touch supported, as the name suggests, Football Manager Touch. You can use the touch controller, so don't worry about that. Place of birth, let's just put, I don't know, somewhere in London, doesn't matter. Lewis. Favourite team, let's just go Man United to be easier. Favourite formation, 4-4-2 is fine. And past playing experience, let's go national level. You can also choose here whether you're experienced at playing Football Manager, yes or no. If you put no, you get really, really helpful tutorials as you play along. So I'll leave it on no, just so you can see the tutorials. And let's crack on with the avatar overview, avatar creator, I should say. You can do all sorts of stuff here if you really want to. I think there's a few more options than last year, but you can just change stuff here, set that up how you want, which is really cool. On the mobile version, you can actually import a picture to use as your sort of avatar in the game when you get press reports and stuff like that, which is a really nice feature. It doesn't seem to be in the Switch version, which is a bit of a shame. There is a few little oddities in the Switch version. So here we go. This is the first new feature. If you're familiar with Football Manager, especially on the Switch, you get this new boardroom scene. Nice little picture there on the left, holding the scarf up with the club nickname, and a little sort of a press release picture, #Man United, and a little bit of a background about who you are, who you're replacing, what kind of deal you're on. Then you get to meet the chairman. So you get this little quick overview of sort of the bit about the club, the stadium, and the background of the team. Let's move on. And the best 11 players. So you get a team report, what your best setup is, and any transfer obligations. They're all listed here as well, so you can see who's in and out of loan. And clicking on, you get this overview, sort of your induction. And it sort of says here when you're going to be getting those inductions. So you'll get a scouting induction in 2 days, although you can prefer to send it today. Training inductions scheduled for tomorrow, send it today. All that kind of thing if you want to get ahead of the game. So ZR again, we'll move on to the next screen and we can set up a save game. That's fine. Now, one thing we didn't get in that introduction there is the 5-year plan, which I'm sure you normally get at the start. So that's quite interesting. I don't know. Oh, here we go. Club Vision. Now, this normally, I'm sure this should pop up at the start. Maybe I accidentally skipped through it with the ZR button, but this is what would normally pop up. Club Vision meeting. So Avram Glazer, the owner, set out his club vision. So the culture, which is the sort of overall goal of the club at all times, and that is here to play entertaining football. So the club culture of Manchester United is always to play entertaining football. That's what they want. It's highly desired, and it's a playing style type request. Now the 5-year plan, what I was talking about earlier. So the main sort of goal here is to work within the wage budget, which is quite standard for most clubs. But this is the actual targets that they want. So at the end of the current season, minimum expectations to be negotiated later. They want Premier Division. They want to qualify for the European Cup, which is quite obvious. FA Cup minimum to reach the semi-finals. Euro Cup to reach the final of that. Carabao Cup. They're saying it's not important, so they don't care about that, which is probably quite realistic. Other goals here: become the most reputable team in England and become the most reputable team in the world. So no pressure. So that's at the end of the first season, and then it goes on into the second season. So at the end of 2021, work towards challenging for the Premier League title and continue to become the most reputable team in England and the world. And end of the next season, so 21-22, I want to be challenging for the Premier League title. It says my contract expires that year as well, and continue to be the most reputable team. And the end of the next season is to win the Premier League. So basically within, 3 years, they want us to win the Premier League, which is quite generous. And they want to become the most reputable team in England and the world. And that's actually a requirement at that point rather than a desire. And at the end of the final part of their 5-year plan is they want to win the Premier League again. So there you can see there, you've got a 5-year plan all laid out, all mapped out, goals you have to reach. As I said earlier, I really, really love this feature. Obviously, it's different. You know, if you go to sort of Mansfield or somewhere, they're not going to expect you to win the Premier League or even the division that they're in, the League 2 title or League 1. Apologies to Mansfield fans. Not quite sure where you are. So, you know, it will be scaled to the club. So, you know, if you're a really poor club, say Macclesfield, for example, who are really struggling in League 2, got no money, I'd imagine their first goal will be survival. Certainly stuff like cut the wage bill, sign youth players, all that kind of thing, you know, really to help the club survive. But obviously here at one of the biggest clubs in the world, Manchester United, they want success, they want trophies, they want to be reputable. So really good feature. We've confirmed that. We agree that that's our success. You get this little progress report as you go through the season, and you can look on it, look it up, and see how you're progressing for all of the requests that the club have set you. So that's really cool. So we'll skip on, and the next feature was the development centre, wasn't it? So if you press the L button, so you got obviously ZL, ZR, let you go backwards and forwards. L brings up the left side menu. The right bumper button will bring up a right side menu, which is a little more contextual. The left side menu here is sort of the main menu, and quite nicely tucked away. I quite like the way they've done that, just sort of to keep it off to the side. Again, on the iPad version, it's kind of visible all the time down the left hand side. They're sort of thinking screen real estate. I would kind of like the option to have it stuck there. Would be quite nice, but there you go. Not to worry. So as I said, you can look at the club vision here that we spoke about earlier, and this is sort of where you get your overview of how you're doing. So at the moment, they're reserving judgment on all these things in the first season, and then you get this manager performance, which is really cool, and it sort of breaks it down into each element. So how well you're doing on the club vision, how well you're doing in matches, in transfers, how they sort of perceive your tactics, how they think you're managing the squad, and you can go further into things like that about, as we've sort of gone into tactics here, they can sort of break down even further about what they think of the formation, the entertainment value, how you do your pressing, possession, attacking, defending. So really good sort of to get in there. Let's have a look at the match breakdown. No matches played yet, but again, it would break down here how they think you're doing on a per match basis. So ZL takes us back. Let's bring up the main menu again and have a look at that development centre, which is one of the other headline features. And it's just saying here they can give you an induction about how all that works. We'll skip that for now and just say we'll leave that to our backroom staff. So here we have the breakdown. We've got the players on loan. If we look at that, you can see who's in and out on loan. So we've got some players out. I don't think they've got anyone in. I think the players in on loan are sort of bold in white. So these are all loaned out. And you can sort of click on those and it gives you a bit more of a breakdown. You can see the player here, Ethan Hamilton's being tracked by Nick Cox, Head of Youth Development. So he's keeping an eye on Ethan Hamilton and he'll be reporting back here on how Ethan's doing. And these are all his contract details whilst at Southend. So really good. You can keep an eye on these players. See how they're getting on. Chris Smalling there at Roma. For some reason he's being tracked by the Head of Youth Development as well, even though he's about 50 years old. But that's fine. Loan suggestions here. The sort of a staff member that's looking after this development centre suggesting that we send these players out on loan. Again, really good features. Sometimes you don't have enough time to sort of keep on top of all these things. So it's really nice to just have these little prompts and think, oh yeah, I will loan out James Garner. That's a good idea. Let's go back to... Go back to the development centre. No, not finances. Come on. Development centre, you can you get a report on the reserve squad about how your reserves are doing. And again, you can click into that and view more information on the reports of who's doing well, who isn't doing well. You can just leave all that up to your assistant manager if you like. And then finally, first team candidates here. It'll flag up anybody that they think are in with a shout of getting into the first team. So again, really worth keeping an eye on this. Really useful. It sort of gives you a better gauge of how people are doing in sort of training and stuff, and if they're ready for the first team squad. And finally, there's a little needs attention bit at the bottom here. If there's any players that are slacking off, then they'll appear down here for you to look at. Let's crack on with the game. Let's get into a match before we end this. Let's just skip through as much of this as possible. If you've played these Football Manager games before on the Switch, it's very much the same UI. So, not much has changed there, which is a bit of a shame. You get a slight new look. We don't want to do the tactics induction. We'll skip that for now. See if we can get into the first match. Should be a friendly coming up soon. Little update here again. This is in all the games when your contracts are expiring. Just ZR for all this. This is quite new. Code of conduct. I think this is new for this year. Previously, if players caused any problems, if they got sent off or missed training, you'd have to go in and individually fine them. Here you can set up like a global fine system. So you see here for like missing training, if you do it for the first time, you lose half a week's wages. If you do it a second time, 1 week, third time, 2 weeks, and then fourth time, maximum you can charge them is 2 weeks. So it's really cool. It saves you having to micromanage that. You just set up like a global thing for all the players at the start. They know where they stand. You know what's going to happen when they misbehave. The little loan report there. Team induction from Mike Phelan, the assistant manager, just telling us where we're weak and strong. I'm just going to say as well, I am zooming through this. I'm going to do a more in-depth video and obviously a review, but this is just the first impressions. Just want to get this out so you know what it's like, because it's sort of, as I say, dropped without warning. I didn't get the code from Sega until the same time it went live on the eShop, so I've not had much time to sort of get ahead of the game for you guys here and let you know what this one's like. But that's fine. We don't want to do the team induction. Big thanks to Sega, actually, for sending this one out. Really appreciate it. I'm not going to do the training induction. Just want to skip through to a match reading and show you how much the match engine has improved. Scouting induction is fine. As I said at the start, when you choose your start, you can say whether you're experienced in Football Manager or not. If you put you're not, then you get all these little hints and tips and inductions. If you've played the game before, you can set that to yes, and it'll just, you won't get prompted to do stuff unless it's brand new in the game. So let's get into a friendly now. So I'm just going to matches picked for telly, staff induction. Don't want to take the staff induction. So apologies. The footage that I did have for the Red Bull Salzburg match, I had some audio problems, so I've had to come back and we'll look at a different match here. We're away at Derby, which might be a bit more interesting for English fans. So here we've picked our team based on the formation. Then we use the quick pick facility. If you just click that again, because Jesse Lingard is injured. For quick pick, then the assistant manager will pick the best players for this formation. Obviously, normally pick my own players, but just for the sake of speed, just do an automatic pick there. And if you press Y, you can reduce the tactics slider away, and you can pick your own players. Just click on them and drag them around. Sure, you're used to that kind of thing, especially if you've played one of these games before. Press Y to bring the tactics back up. Just have one little check of that. Think we're good. So let's get into the match. So as I say, loading times are a little long. Not game-breakingly long, but just slightly annoyingly long. So you get this pre-match screen. Just gives you the weather forecast, the match information and lineups. So ZR to kick off. And again, if you're used to these Football Manager games, you know what these screens are. This is just like the overview and quick sort of text highlights. And then we break into match highlights here. That's new for this season, which is the short kick out, with one of the new rules for this year, where a goal kick doesn't have to come out of the area. And as you can see, the sort of match engine, the graphics of the players are much better. I mean, obviously they're not sort of FIFA quality, but that's not the point of this game. But they've certainly redone sort of the player models, made the movements a bit more realistic, and sort of the actual football action a bit more realistic as well, which is really cool. But the big thing for me is the performance, the frame rate in Football Manager 19, last year's version, was really bad and certainly worse than the first release on the Switch, which was really odd, and was one of the reasons I scored it so lowly last year. It just was really off-putting, just how jerky it was. Much improved this year. I would say, infinitely improved. It's far better. Really nice and smooth. You still get a weird sort of janky animation. It's not super smooth in terms of having loads of frames of animation. As I say, like FIFA or something like that. But it does the job. But the main thing is it keeps up a decent frame rate. The only thing I would say, as Greenwood sweeps in the first goal off Daniel James's cross, is that there's a lot of jagged lines, which is quite surprising. The iPad versions, the graphics are actually much better on the iPad version in terms of sort of smoothness and look. But again, you don't really play these games for the graphics. They're just a real nicety to have, and they do suck you in. Sort of the immersion is definitely there when you use this highlight kind of viewpoint. You don't have to. You can turn these sort of arcade-style highlights off and just have the text updates like an old-school manager game. But hopefully you can see, certainly if you played last year's game, you can see how much the improvements have been put into Football Manager 20. Just quickly watch the second half here. See if we see anything else. One of the things I really like about this engine in general, but certainly the version on Switch here, is you very rarely get the same highlight. It feels very organic, like the build-up play. They're not just sort of pre-canned animations. You don't really get the same sort of events play out over and over again, which I like. It feels very organic in the build-up, and there's lots and lots of different ways that the chances and goals are built up in the engine. It's really clever. Like that a lot. So looks like I'm not going to have too many more chances here. Up to the 80th minute now. Derby make a few subs. I'm not going to bother making any subs, so we're not playing this to win right now. We're just playing it to showcase how the engine works. It's a fairly uneventful game as we take a 1-0 win, assuming Derby don't have a late comeback. No, 1-0 win. So there you go. That's the match engine. Really, as I say, much improved from Football Manager 19. Night and day, really. So in the end, I was liking Football Manager 19 a lot, but this has just infinitely improved it. So really happy with that. So that's just a quick overview of Football Manager 20 Touch on the Nintendo Switch. Hope you enjoyed that. Please let me know below if you've got any questions or thinking about picking this one up. Just want to know how it compares to 19, for example. Anything you need to know, just drop me a line below. We're going to be doing more content on this over the next few days on the channel. So we may well put together a career mode playthrough to see how that goes, so you can see sort of more in depth how some of the things work. But yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Please leave me a like and a subscribe if you can. It'd be much appreciated. And I will catch you guys on the next video. Thanks a lot, everyone. Bye-bye.